These are the world's fastest cars, and this one right here is the fastest. And it's so fast it literally broke the speed of sound. And man, I hope Gru considers this car instead of his current whatever you want to call this. But as I said, these are the world's fastest land vehicles, with both normal piston engines plus cars with thrust-based engines. And yeah, those are basically engines planes use on cars. Anyway, more on that later. And the price of the last car is just out of this world. But first on the list is the Birkeland 411, and it was actually the fastest piston engine car in 2008. Just check this out. Kinda underwhelming compared to the other cars on the list, but A for effort, I guess. However, wait, the Streamliner is still pretty insane. This Hot Wheels lookalike set the top speed world record back in 2008 without using jet engines. It used the combined power of two 7.4L Donovan Hemi engines, producing a total of 3,000 horsepower and sending it to all four wheels. Now brace yourselves, because the top speed of the Birkeland 411 was topped out at 415.896 miles per hour over a 1 mile run. That's faster than the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute, which can reach a top speed of about 330 miles per hour. However, it just gets better. So now, would you believe it if I told you that this car is actually old as the Lamborghini Miura? And despite that, it still sits 9th overall on the list. How's that possible? Well, let's take a look. This is the Challenger 2, and it was built by Mickey Thompson, the first person ever to hit the 400 miles per hour mark, using his Challenger 1 back in 1960, but he never managed to ride the Mark II as he passed away in 1988 without completing his dream, but more on that later. So fast forward to 2018 with his son, Danny, decided to dust off the Challenger 2 and pack it with a 2,500 horsepower V8 Hemi nitro fueled engine, because why not, right? So he took that 50-year-old piston-driven monster to Bonneville Salt Flats and completed his father's dream of turning the Challenger 2 into the fastest piston-driven car in the world by hitting the top speed of 448.757 miles per hour. But it didn't last long, as another vehicle on this list completely smashed that record in the same year. But moving on. This car right here is a literal demon. So back in 2012, a guy named George Poteet had just finalized what was projected to be the fastest piston-driven car in the world, and it even had a little tune-up to eliminate the speed record. Anyway, let me explain. So this is literally the Demon. It's called the Speed Demon Streamliner, and it was designed to make the Birkeland 411 Streamliner eat dust, as this Demon flew past insane speeds with its custom 4.9L Hellfire V8 engine, which produced an astonishing 1,980 horsepower to the ground. 2 years later, it was time for this fighter jet with no wings to show its most lethal weapon to the world, its top speed. So the team went to Bonneville and stormed the Salt Flats to set the official top speed world record at 439 miles per hour. Insane, right? But wait, because there's more. In 2020, the team changed the engine to a high-tech 3,156 horsepower twin-turbo methanol-fueled Chevy V8 and set another record by hitting 470 miles per hour, completely smashing the Challenger 2 record. However, every record has its king, and this vehicle is the one to be beaten, as it stands as the fastest piston-driven vehicle in the world. Nowadays, the only way to beat its speed is by going fully jet-powered. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Vesco Turbinator 2, and let me tell you, this one is quick. This bad boy has been at it since the Lamborghini Murcielago was born, with its team consistently improving it throughout the years. And since 2018, this perfectly designed machine sits on top of the hill, but more on that shortly. It is the owner of the unofficial record of being the first piston-driven car to ever hit the 500 miles per hour mark. But why is it unofficial? Well, the vehicle was able to reach the top speed of 503 miles on the way out, and this was due to weather conditions, and so it couldn't repeat that speed on the way back, dropping the final top speed average. But don't worry, the average speed of this monster was 482 miles per hour, making it the world's fastest driven vehicle to ever exist. Sheesh. Now let's break from the piston-driven limitations and jump to the real top Gs on this list. This is the first jet-powered vehicle of the list, and one of the oldest as well, and it has a jet engine strapped to it. More on that later though. However, it fought for a long time with the Spirit of America, which is a car next on the list, and let me tell you, that car isn't a joke. But sadly, this car lost a speed battle against the Spirit of America, but managed to keep the 6th place of the fastest vehicles on Earth. Oh, and as I mentioned, it uses a fighter jet engine and it's quite sick. So let's take a look. This car has a name, and it's called the Green Monster. Why? Because it held the land speed record 3 times between 1964 and 1965. Powered by an F-104 Starfighter jet engine with 4-stage afterburners capable of pulling a school bus to 60 miles per hour, faster than a Ferrari 488 Pista. Had a streamlined design with no wings, and the cockpit was located on the left side of the massive jet engine, and it was green. It set the fastest top speed record in 1965 by reaching an amazing average of 576 miles per hour, but that record only lasted 8 days, as its main rival did what no one else had ever done before. Time to meet him. But don't be fooled by its appearance. Despite looking like a mix of a space shuttle and a Concorde jet plane with no wings, this vehicle was the fastest way a person could travel through land back in 1965. Let me show you. The Spirit of America Sonic 1 was Craig Breedlove's second land speed record car, and was responsible for intense speed battles against the Green Monster, which subsequently ended with the Spirit being the king of the hill. But more on that shortly, because this Monster Eater is a powerful jet-powered car, packed with the F-4 Phantom Fighter jet engine, which made this insane land vehicle beat the Green Monster just 8 days after it set his record, and was able to hold his mark for 5 years. It was the first ever to hit the 600 miles per hour mark. But wait, because for 5 long years, people were trying to find a new way to beat that 600 miles per hour mark. But what in the world could be more powerful and faster than a fighter jet engine-powered car? Well, how about a fully rocket-powered engine? Sounds dope, right? And for sure it was. Let's check it out. Gary Gabelig decided it was time to shatter Breedlove's record, so he managed to create an all-out rocket-powered car, which he called the Blue Flame. Now hear this. As it was a rocket engine, it was capable of producing an insane 58,000 horsepower, but it had to be tuned down for safety reasons. And what does that mean? Well, it means that it shattered the 5-year record of 600 miles per hour by hitting 630 miles per hour in the Salt Flats back in 1970. The same year, the fastest car was a Porsche 930 Turbo that couldn't reach the 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds. And it took 13 years for another vehicle to dethrone him as the fastest land vehicle on Earth. Now fasten your seatbelts, because we're talking about the top 3 fastest land vehicles on Earth. And this one might just not be what you expected, but for sure, it will surprise you, as it surprised everyone when it almost took off while setting the speed record. Let me explain. The Thrust 2 was built by the British driver Richard Noble, with its design resembling the Green Monster, and yes, he went for a jet engine despite a rocket thruster. But with newer technology from 1983, the Rolls-Royce Avon 302 power unit could deliver 30,000 horsepower, enough power to boost this 4-ton monster to the unofficial top speed of 650 miles per hour in under just 1 minute. And that's not even the most impressive thing. Modern computer analysis confirmed that if the driver just went 7 miles per hour faster, it would have been liable to take off. And the official record? Well, this beast set the unbelievable official record of 634 miles per hour, just 4 miles per hour faster than the Blue Flame. Now, let's meet the runner-up of this list. This is the second fastest car in the world, and it has more than 100,000 horsepower. It's so fast that it's capable of traveling faster than the speed of sound, but more on this a little later. However, it's called the Thrust SSC, and if you stand next to it when it flies by, the sonic boom from it breaking the speed of sound might kill you. And if it doesn't, your bank account will, because every minute it costs around $8,000 to drive. So if you were to drive from California to New York, it would cost around $2 million. This is because it has 2 Rolls-Royce jet engines strapped to the body of the car, producing around 102,000 horsepower. But how fast was it? Well, before we talk about that, we of course need to acknowledge the person that drove this monster. And it was none other than Andy Green, a high-ranking British Royal Air Force fighter pilot, and holder of the 1997 current land speed record. Now, the speed of this thing is absolutely absurd, landing about 763 miles per hour. Okay, but there's even more. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, kindly subscribe because it's the world's fastest car today. And it's so fast that it literally broke the speed of sound and kind of just chilled the speed of sound as well. Let me explain. This car was built from outstanding work by the Bloodhound team that started way back in 2008, and through ups and downs with financial difficulties and other issues, they still rose from the ashes. And let me present to you the Bloodhound LSR. It's packed with a Eurofighter EJ200 jet engine and a hybrid rocket propeller from Nammo in order to give it that extra push, all combined to deliver 135,000 horsepower. That's equivalent of 180 F1 cars together to match the power output. Mind-blowing, right? But that's not even the craziest thing about this car. It will take 55 seconds to go from 0 miles per hour to the top speed world record goal of 1,000 miles per hour. And the price for reaching the 1,000 miles per hour mark and having the fastest car on Earth? A huge fortune of 30 million euros.